You're stinking up the room with the damn protein farts, and yeah, we know it's you. If you've been stuffing your face full of chicken breasts thinking that you need every ounce of spare protein to make sure that you don't wither away, then I've got some compelling news for you. Recently published in the American Journal of Physiology, Endocrinology, and Metabolism, a team of researchers at the University of Illinois have conducted one of the most comprehensive investigations to date on whether more protein really means more gains. I'm gonna break everything down in simple terms. That's how I like to do things on this channel. I take information that might otherwise be boring to research on your own and hope that you go, hey, this guy's kind of a dork, but also kind of funny, and he's sharing some pretty good info. Maybe I'll keep watching. Then you can take that info and apply it to your life however you see fit. All right, so what did they do in this study exactly? Well, they took 50 middle-aged men and women ages 40 to 64 and put them into randomized groups over the course of 10 weeks. One group consuming a moderate amount of protein, roughly 1 gram per kilogram of body weight, and the other group consuming a higher amount of protein at about 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. All participants ate at roughly maintenance calories and had less than a year of resistance training under the belt. So, pretty untrained individuals. They also followed a full body training regimen 3 times per week. So this is like straight up what the body is capable of doing on its own without any additional supplementation. And the studies show that both the moderate protein and the high protein groups produced the same amount of relative gains in strength and lean body mass. But let's break this down further and see what was great about this study and what may or may not be questionable and what kind of things are sort of left unanswered. So the training was pretty straightforward, but made sure to include consistent progressive overload to promote protein synthesis. Again, 3 days per week targeting the total body with at least 1 rest day in between training days. So like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing. Sessions started with a 5-minute cardio warm-up, with training consisting of 2 warm-up sets and then 3 working sets for each movement, which included leg press, leg curl, and leg extensions for the lower body, and chest press and shoulder press, or seated row and bicep curl for the upper body. Training intensity was determined by each individual's 1 rep max, and sessions were supervised with continuous supervision on proper technique and form, and when participants were successfully able to complete 3 sets of 10 reps, weight was added to ensure that progressive overload. So far, so good.
Yes, science!
Pretty standard training routine for beginners, but what about the nutrition part of all this, right? I mean, that's the hardest part to control in a study like this. Well, I love that the researchers conducting this study left chance and participant error out of this as much as possible. They did this in a couple of ways. First off, immediately after each training session, the participants were fed pre-weighed and sorted portions of beef. 16 grams of protein worth for the moderate group and 32 grams for the high protein group. They were also given beef-based protein isolate powder to consume 1 to 2 hours before bed. 15 grams of protein worth for the moderate group and 30 grams worth for the high protein group. But that doesn't account for the meals outside of those 2 feeding windows, right? And the researchers weren't like, yeah, you all just track the rest of your food the best you can and report back to us. That'll be good science, right? Nah. They wanted to mitigate as much error as possible. Kudos to them. So they had dietitians counsel each participant, giving them oral and written instructions on how to accurately record their protein goal based on proper portion sizes and methods of cooking. This is something everyone should be familiar with if they're trying to achieve any sort of fitness goal. All right, so the original aim of the study was to have the moderate protein group eat roughly the RDA amount, which is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, versus the higher protein group at 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. They wanted to have a fairly wide gap in protein consumption. Makes sense for the purpose of this study. Unfortunately, even with all the supervision and guidance, they eventually found that some of the moderate group was eating more in the range of 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.
You blew it!
So slightly higher than they would have liked for the moderate group, but based on the weight diversity of the participants, that's still roughly a 30 to 60 gram difference in protein between the 2 groups. It might also be important to note that their diets and macros were otherwise well balanced with moderate carbs and fats. So what does this all mean? We can safely say that the body is pretty efficient at protein synthesis even at slightly lower amounts of protein consumption, assuming you have proper muscle stimulus and the rest of your diet has some sort of balance to it. This study was also done with middle-aged participants 40 to 64 years old. that's when the body starts to lose muscle and struggle with protein synthesis, which tells me that if you're under the age of 40, you're freaking golden, man. That old idea of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is pretty obsolete at this point. So if that's still you and you're ferociously trying to take in as much protein as you can, chill out. You're stinking up the room with the damn protein farts, and yeah, we know it's you. But with that said, the unanswered question we're left with is, do these results apply to moderately trained, heavily trained individuals who are experienced and have been training for years plus? Are higher amounts of protein needed in that case? That's still left up for debate, but more and more the consensus is showing that you don't need to go aggro on the protein consumption. A well-trained person may not see as much muscle growth as, say, someone new to training might, but it's not looking like taking in loads of extra protein is gonna give anyone any major advantages. Man, I do wish that all the participants in the moderate group didn't overconsume their protein and actually ate closer to that RDA amount of protein to better solidify these findings. But I still think it's safe to say that if you're rolling with well-balanced nutrition and resistance training in your life, and most of your meals revolve around some sort of protein, you're getting everything you need. I mean, if you overconsume protein, then your body's just gonna use those calories as energy or store it as glucose through gluconeogenesis anyway. Thanks so much for watching. You're awesome. Go check out some of my other videos if you please. Some of them were all right. As for this video, we're done here.